It's been said that e-commerce is a numbers game. But if you run an online business, you know that there are a lot of numbers involved. So, which metrics should you be focused on when running an e-commerce business? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Hey everybody, my name is Charlie Kamisaska. I've started 6 e-commerce brands over the last 4 years. And before I got into e-commerce, I actually studied accounting at the University of Notre Dame. E-commerce metrics are my wheelhouse, and I'm excited to be talking to you guys about this today. So we're going to talk about 3 metrics today. We're going to call them your true north metrics. If you do nothing else but focus on these 3 metrics, you're going to do okay. Now, unfortunately, none of these metrics are stored in Shopify. So if you are using that popular platform, you're going to have to figure something else out. And I like to think of the Peter Drucker quote that's very famous that says, if it's not measured, it's not managed. So if you're not tracking these metrics today, then I have a hard time understanding how you're going to operate a successful e-commerce business. You got to be managing them. And so since they're not tracked in Shopify, I'm going to be demonstrating these 3 metrics using an app that I developed called Boardroom. Now, you could calculate these in a spreadsheet or find some alternative, but I think Boardroom offers an affordable and really convenient option for people out there who are looking to get into the weeds a little bit more of their e-commerce data set. And I think you should be if you want to operate a successful online business. So let's go ahead and jump in. What are those 3 metrics that I'm talking about? Well, the first one that we're going to look at is customer acquisition cost. This is what it costs you to acquire a new customer. Shocking, I know. It's calculated by this formula here, the number of sales or orders divided by your marketing spend over some defined time period. Now, we have some supporting metrics here, which we're going to look at in a moment. So I'm just going to flip open the Boardroom app and show you how we track it here. We have an advertising insights page. Now, if you're running an e-commerce business, your primary marketing spend is probably coming through advertisements. And so this is a great place to track your cost per acquisition. So we're looking at this chart. It shows me day by day how much I paid to acquire each customer. I only have a Google Ads account connected here, but I could also connect a Facebook Ads account as well, which is super important and useful. And that takes me to, the next topic, which is a supporting metric for customer acquisition cost. Now, if you notice that cost per acquisition or customer acquisition cost, same term interchangeably used here, is too high, if you notice that there's a problem with that metric, then you might want to dig into the data a little bit more. So I'm going to talk through a couple of supporting metrics to help you understand how to diagnose what the problem is and then implement some strategies to fix it. So for example, if you do notice that there are problems with cost per acquisition, you're going to want to look at first individual marketing platforms. So the source of your marketing spend. For example, we could look at Google versus Facebook and figure out if one platform or another is yielding a higher cost per acquisition, and then reinvest maybe in the more profitable platform after that. Second, you could look at cost per click. You could think of this as what it's costing to drive traffic to your website, right? So you could look at cost per click by platform or by campaign to drill in a little bit further and figure out, how expensive it is to get traffic to your site. Are there certain, variations where cost per click is really high or really low? You might want to investigate that and reinvest in the cheaper cost per clicks, assuming that they lead to more sales on the back end. So something to think about. Number 3, and this is the final supporting metric for cost per acquisition, is conversion rate. So once you get that traffic to your website, at what percentage are they converting into customers? If this appears to be too low, you're going to want to employ some conversion rate optimization strategies. So things like revising your website design, simplifying your checkout process, and maybe refreshing the copywriting on your website as well. These 3 things in particular can go a long way to boosting your conversion rate. So again, we talked about cost per acquisition. That's the true north metric that you need to be aware of. And then a few supporting metrics that you can drill into if you notice that there are problems with cost per acquisition. So let's jump back now to the deck and look at metric number 2, which is average customer lifetime value. So this is super important because you can think of this as your break-even marketing budget. What do I mean by that? Well, this is the highest amount that you can spend in order to acquire one new customer and still turn a profit. That's because it's calculated like this: total amount of revenue generated over a certain time period divided by the total number of customers over that same time period. What is one customer truly worth to me? Well, that's the most I can possibly spend from a customer acquisition cost perspective to get a new customer and still turn a profit. So you see how these two metrics are related to each other, and you should be comparing customer lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. And here's a clue for you: if customer acquisition cost is higher than customer lifetime value, you got a problem. And that's something that you need to dig into and figure out how you can fix. So let's again look at, before we talk about these supporting metrics, let's jump into Boardroom, where I can show you that Boardroom has a really neat kind of CRM built in. So we take all of the customers from your Shopify store and we put them into a little database where you can make, your own custom segments. You can search and report on so many different factors here: financial, contact details, location, just so much here that is not available in Shopify as a platform. And we calculate automatically customer lifetime value. Again, we got the formula here for you so you can reference it. But this, again, is such an important metric that you have to be tracking, and it's just not there in Shopify. So if you notice that there are problems with customer lifetime value, for example, maybe it's lower than customer acquisition costs, and you don't think you can improve your customer acquisition costs, you got to figure out how you can improve customer lifetime value. Well, I'm going to give you just two supporting metrics that you can dig into in order to optimize CLV, as it's known. So number one is average order value. You can see that on the right side of the screen here. That's just showing you how much each individual customer is spending on an individual order on average on your store. How much is each purchase worth to you? Now, you can increase this value by creating offers potentially that bundle different products together. Or maybe it's by optimizing your pricing strategy. Maybe your prices are too low for certain products on your store. Whatever strategy you want to try to employ, there are different ways that you can try to optimize and increase this number. And so again, Boardroom is showing you not only this number, but on a different page, we show you how it's trending over time. So you can really manage it and measure how you're improving it over time as you implement those strategies. The second supporting metric for customer lifetime value is number of orders per customer. You could also think of this as your, returning customer rate, or your repurchase rate, it's called sometimes. How often are customers making more than one purchase with you? How many purchases does the average customer make for you? Is it 2? Is it 1.5 on average? Is it 5? That's again something where you could potentially improve this number by, let's say creating some targeted marketing campaigns through SMS or email marketing that, look at your existing customer base and figure out a way that you can retarget them with some additional offer that they might be interested in. So again, these two supporting metrics here, average order value and average number of orders per customer, are both going to serve average customer lifetime value. By increasing those two supporting metrics, you automatically increase average customer lifetime value as well. So that was metric number 2. Let's pull back up our deck here and go to metric number 3, which is net profit. This is the kingpin metric. At the end of the day, guys, net profit is all that matters. If you're not turning a profit at your business, you're not going to be in business for very long. And so this is what you need to be optimizing above all else. And all other metrics that you analyze should ultimately be serving this metric of net profit. It's calculated revenue minus expenses. I'm sure you know that. But so many e-commerce brands are not tracking net profit, and it just blows my mind. So like I said, every other metric really should serve to support net profit. We haven't talked much about gross profit margin or product costs, but I'm going to save that for a separate video because it's a pretty big topic. And so again, we're going to jump into Boardroom real quick here. You can see that we do track net profit here right on the homepage, and we also show you how net profit is trending over time. So again, you can evaluate how this metric is changing over time and how your strategies are impacting your bottom line. So to sum things up, guys, there are a ton of other e-commerce metrics that we haven't talked about, and many of them are tracked here in Boardroom. And there are often good reason to start looking into some of these other more granular metrics. But if you focus on nothing else but these 3 true north metrics that I mentioned, customer acquisition cost, average customer lifetime value, and net profit, if you focus on those with laser-like intensity, you're going to do just fine in the world of e-commerce. So don't get overwhelmed. The numbers game is something that you can win. Now, it's my sincere belief that the Boardroom app, which we've been reviewing today, can help you to manage and monitor and optimize these metrics. If it's not measured, it's not managed. Remember that quote. So I hope you'll consider our 2-week free trial. That's more than enough time to figure out if Boardroom will be useful for you, and I think it will. If nothing else, it just gives you such great visibility into what's really going on at your business. Anyways, if you found this video to be helpful, I hope you'll subscribe and just follow along. We're going to be posting weekly videos with tips and tricks about how to improve your e-commerce business. So my name's Charlie from Boardroom. Thanks for watching.